Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. My name is Tony Squares. As always, I'm joined by Mr. Robert Lentini. And Robert, we did it. We did it. If you have not heard, it officially is Triple H's era. And we just finished WrestleMania 40 and the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania. And we're here for a quick little recap on everything that happened. We will be coming to you again later on in the week because of whatever the fuck AEW is doing. But before we get to AEW, let's talk about WrestleMania. Robert. 2 nights, my friend. Triple H's version. Before we get down to the matches, breaking down what happened, what's the repercussions? Were you happy with the 2 nights of wrestling that you got?
Oh, man, I don't know how you couldn't be. Like, just if you're an old school wrestling fan like myself, you've been watching this for 30 plus years now. That was a blast down memory lane. That gave me great, like the vibes of the Attitude Era. It feels like an entirely new era. And you could just feel the stench of Vince McMahon being removed day by day. Just his stupid booking decisions, just everything that he used to do to hamper the talents on his roster are no longer in place, and everybody's getting the shine. And WrestleMania 40 was just, it felt like a team effort. It feels like they all get along backstage, which is really rare. That was my main takeaway. It was like, wow, WWE is in a phenomenal place right now.
Well, yeah, my main takeaway is very similar to yours, and it kind of hurts because this show started off as you are the WWE guy, I am the AEW guy, and I said a few weeks ago with the new signings that AEW had, we'd be entering a new era in AEW, and I was wrong, but only halfway. We're entering a new era in WWE, and yes, It's going to be called the Paul Levesque Triple H era. He definitely purposefully put his name all over everything this weekend. But again, the results speak for themselves. It was a wonderful build, a wonderful adjustment to what they were going to do coming out of the Rumble, listening to the fans, knowing what people wanted, and went forward with telling the story and finishing the story. I will say, as for the 2 nights of wrestling, and I don't want to bemoan, I had a really fun time watching WrestleMania. Monday after WrestleMania is another thing, but the 2 nights of WrestleMania were a lot of fun. I will say, night one felt like a regular pay-per-view with a really fun main event. Night 2, however, was WrestleMania. And let's break down what we saw over the evenings. And we got to start with the main events. And I say main events because both evenings, main events were tied to each other. The stipulations one right into the other. Night 1, you had the tag match, the return of The Rock. He wrestled for what felt like 7 hours, but it was a lot of fun, especially at the ending. And of course, as we predicted correctly, The Rock and Roman went over, which meant it was bloodline rules for the main event of night 2, Roman versus Cody, in which we saw everyone who wanted a WrestleMania paycheck got a WrestleMania paycheck that evening, and it was done perfectly, really perfectly. Another long match, long entrances. I mean, the funniest part was when they entered, there was still about 1 hour and 15 minutes of like Peacock runtime to when the finish of the pay-per-view was. It was that long of everything involved, like video package to finish. But I accepted and loved every second of it. About 2 hours of wrestling television were dedicated to these 2 main events. Robert, do you, I mean, what are your feelings? Was this done correctly? Would you have changed anything? Are you happy?
No, and I'm very happy. I wouldn't have changed anything, excuse me. But to piggyback off your point real quick about those like long ass video packages, Sami Zayn defeated Gunther. We'll talk about that to capture the Intercontinental Championship on night 1. It was about 40 minutes until that main event started. With The Rock
the next match,
the ring introductions. Roman Reigns' 48-minute entrance. But yeah, no, I wouldn't change a damn thing. And I originally was wrong. I thought that The Rock and Roman Reigns would lose because I thought Cody Rhodes was going to, finish the story on his own. It was going to be him dethroning the tribal chief. But the way they did it was so much more entertaining. And the main event of night 1 with The Rock going over, I just to throw this out there to you. We're just spitballing here. I think that's the final boss is one of the best wrestling characters I've ever seen. Just because I have watched that damn last 5 minutes of night 2 about 100 times with everybody just coming out. But when The Rock specifically comes to the ring, the aura he has as this character is second to none. I'm 35 fucking years old. I'm like aghast when I see this man. I'm like, holy shit, this is my childhood. And he looks better. He looks great. And he wasn't terrible in the match. He held his own. He wasn't the best wrestler in the ring in night 1, but he was fine for what they asked him to do.
For a man who's over 50 and for a man who hasn't been in the wrestling ring professionally for at least 8 to 9 years, whatever that last match was, I thought he did excellent in the ring. I thought he
Yeah.
did excellent in the ring, and he was in there for a long time night one. That match went on forever. And yes, there was a lot of walking around, a lot of talking, a lot of throwing people into the barricade, catching your breath, but I don't care. You kept me entertained for that entire time. I loved, to your point about the character, the fact that during that tag team match, he is yelling at the referee, "No, you're not counting us out. No, I'm hitting him with the belt. You're not disqualifying me." He's using that persona of not only the final boss, but the guy who runs the place, the face that runs the place, very, very well. And it is an intimidating figure. He's a perfect heel. Now, what happened on Monday Night Raw is a little bit different, but let's just focus on the good stuff. The tag team match, I thought, parlayed into night two. So it made me so excited for night two. Not that another finish would have changed it, but what they did made me so excited to see what was about to unfold in night two. And as you said, the finish of night two, when all those people start coming out, you're absolutely right. The Rock coming out just changes the game, and the perfect camera shot of John Cena looking scared, doesn't know what's coming. John Cena is just such a comic figure that his eyes go wide and he doesn't know what's coming. And The Rock just perfectly entering behind him, leading to, and I am so happy that it wasn't Stone Cold, because who's bigger than The Rock? There's really only one entity bigger than The Rock at this point, and it was Taker, and it is Taker. And that dong hit at a 10 out of 10 levels would not have changed a thing. I thought it was booked perfectly. I enjoyed myself wholeheartedly. And I really don't think any of the old stars were putting themselves over at the behest of the new stars. You know what I mean? And that sometimes happens at WrestleMania. Hulk Hogan comes out and he pins the mid-card heel tag team, then we never hear about him again. No. I really think the older guys who aren't there all the time really played into this story well and lifted everybody up. I couldn't be happy with what we got. Are you happy, though, that Cody is now your champion? Is he deserving of that?
I am very happy that Cody's a champion. He has deserved it. I thought he should have won last year, but now looking back on it, it was a great decision to not have him win last year because we got this.
He wasn't going to win this year either.
Yeah, well, it's true. They were going to have The Rock face Roman Reigns, but to put on that main event, on your point about the legends not like showing anybody up, they all had a reason to return. Solo Sikoa defeated John Cena at Crown Jewel. John Cena came back and went right after Solo Sikoa and put him through a table. The Rock and John Cena faced each other at WrestleMania 28 and 29. It was just one of those things. It was like magic. It was so well booked, and it was so overbooked at the same time, but perfectly done. It didn't matter. And that was like, WrestleMania is never the best wrestling show. It's always a spectacle. And that's what we got. That's what that final 8 minutes was. Then we got Seth Rollins, that story with the Shield.
Come on, Robert. 8 minutes. It was 8 minutes of light shows at that point. Yeah, 8 minutes. It's more like 18. Sorry. Yeah. Keep going.
But also it's not getting lost on too many people. But Seth Rollins' part in this match was incredible. He came down to the ring in the Shield gear, immediately got hit by a Superman punch by Roman Reigns, then later shows up again, and Roman Reigns has a steel chair in his hand. Can he hit Cody or does he hit Seth? He remembers Seth Rollins hitting Roman Reigns 10 years ago, ending the Shield. He hit him with a steel chair, and Roman Reigns fell to the bottom rope. Roman Reigns hits Rollins with a steel chair, and Seth Rollins falls to the bottom rope. That's the type of shit that I love as a wrestling fan. Yeah. I know only few people, nerds like me, know that. But when that happened, as it was happening, I was like, oh my God. Like, that's what wrestling is to me. That this whole era here, like AEW and WWE, this era has crystallized to me that I really love the larger than life characters and storylines over the dream match wrestling style. And we got that in the 18 minutes, let's call it, as you said, was just unbelievable to me as a wrestling fan. And it just brought me back to 20 years ago as a 15-year-old kid losing my mind seeing The Rock. It was incredible.
Yeah,
they did everything right.
I do want to. We're going to bring this up for other matches on the card and sort of stay away from the main event because we're dedicating so much time breaking down, and it deserves this much time to be broken down. But if we were picking a biggest winner and a biggest loser from these two main events, from this whole, all of the characters that we saw, all the people that we saw, the entities involved, to me, The biggest loser is Seth Rollins. He played his part very well, but he was booked to get his ass kicked night one. And then he was booked at the end of night two. He didn't even get on TV until he was Superman punched during the Shield entrance. And yes, it made sense. Like his role in this, as you said, was the distraction to Roman to get Cody, to give Cody the upper hand. But man, Seth took one for the team this weekend.
Yeah, I think I just saw a report right before we logged on that he's going to be out for a month. I think you said something like that. He's going to be taking a break or something during one of our. That's why he's gone. He's still hurt, and he just gutted it out. And hats off to him. It's like one of those performances that will get lost in the shuffle. People won't remember what Seth Rollins did at this pay-per-view, but he had a great match with Drew McIntyre, and he was the reason Cody Rhodes is champion. Yeah. He screwed with Roman Reigns' mind. So yeah, but you're right. I thought Roman Reigns was a pretty big loser too. He didn't get to pin Cody Rhodes on night one and then lost to him on night two. So the Rock. Go ahead.
I saw it as the only way. I think Pat McAfee may have said this, who, by the way, you can love or hate Pat McAfee all you want. I thought he was excellent WrestleMania both evenings on commentary. But he said, I believe it was him who said during the Roman Reigns match on night two, I don't think Roman Reigns can get pinned by anybody. And that really stuck with me because, yes, you can say Roman didn't pin Cody either night, but look at how much had to happen for Roman to finally lose. You know, look at what exactly had to go down. And now he has the potential to have feuds with the world. Like literally the world came out to make sure Cody won that match. And so I thought the mystique of Roman was really protected. Even in this loss. So I think Roman's a winner. Seth, however, is a loser. Another question about that Shield music hitting, which was a surprise to me out of anyone, even more than the Undertaker dong. The Shield music hitting was a surprise to me. And the fact that they didn't show anyone coming out of the crowd, they didn't show Seth until he got hit, I believe, was very, very purposeful. How long, even if it was a millisecond, do you think Dean Ambrose was coming down the ramp?
Did I think as like myself? I did. I was like for a half a second, I was like, "What? Is AEW out of business already?"
Yeah, like literally, and I'm pretty sure that's why they didn't make a mistake not showing Seth Rollins. This is not AEW. The production level is to the nth degree, unless you're Butch and the Femme coming out to the other people's video during the tag team match. But no, I think it was very purposeful that they did not show Seth Rollins coming out of the crowd. I think they wanted to hold that as long as possible, just to make people remember where Dean Ambrose came from first. But yeah. Anything else you want to wrap up here? I think everything was done correctly. We now have Monday Night Raw. Cody comes out to start the show again. We're thanking Paul. We're very long at the end of WrestleMania night two. He brings out his wife, brings out Bruce Pritchard. Pritchard is there for some stupid reason. But yeah, he's hugging everybody. And then Monday night, The Rock comes out and they have a little tete-a-tete. Some secret messages are said to each other in the middle of the ring. I guess, is there anything more you want to say about this? Really, the reason why this WrestleMania happened, the story of Cody Rhodes.
No, I'm ready to we can just touch on that Raw segment with The Rock right now, real quick. That segment really let me down, and really nothing was accomplished besides The Rock saying, "I'm going on vacation," and Cody Rhodes says, "All right," and The Rock's like, "All right, let me hold this title, and then all right, I'll be back, and I'm coming from you." Like that was not the follow-up to WrestleMania I wanted. I wanted like, "You son of a bitch, I'm gonna kill you the next time I see you." That's what I wanted from The Rock. I didn't want like, "Give me the title." It was whatever. Yeah, but
I'm interested now to see, because as you said, the final boss is one of the best characters they have or they've ever had, and I'm interested to see what does The Rock want to do in WWE, because he's going to be around. Like, he's not going to be an everyday character, but he's going to be an ancillary character when stuff matters. Does he want to be that final boss heel all the time? Or does he want to go back to the Rudy Poo, to saying the catchphrases to the crowd and going back on the easy level, be a part of the good guy team? Because The Rock for a long time never wanted to be the bad guy. Like, The Rock wanted the fans to cheer him and might still want the fans to cheer him. And, I don't know. So I mean, that to me scared me a little bit if I was a WWE fan, saying like, "Oh, maybe The Rock's trying to be a good guy now." Like, maybe the next time we see Rocky teams with Cody against Roman and, the what's the Fatu kid they just signed? That's Roman's other cousin. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, that's it for the main event. Let's move on now to the other happenings of WrestleMania. I guess the biggest news, title change wise, there were a couple of big title changes, but I guess the biggest news is Drew McIntyre is world heavyweight champion. And then he wasn't when Damian Priest finally came down and cashed in, thanks to that asshole CM Punk, that
Best in
absolute
the world.
jackass CM
Best
Punk.
wrestler in the world. Great
As
wrestler.
I told you during our preview show, I thought this was going to be a glorified squash match. Seth Rollins gets beats up at the end of night one, and then Drew McIntyre takes care of business. It definitely lasted a lot longer. Kind of felt like a Brock Lesnar match, if we're being honest, just finisher after finisher after finisher. And then Drew McIntyre wins, and CM Punk costs him Damian Priest with the cash. And Damian Priest, now a completely new character, new look, new music all over the place with that title. Excited to see where that guy goes. But Drew McIntyre, man, he got, a number one contender at the end of main event of Monday Night Raw. CM Punk cost him that too. We don't know when CM Punk's coming back. Were you happy with everything that happened here? You wanted Drew McIntyre to get that title.
Yeah, I did, and I wanted him to get the title and then go on to defend it against CM Punk. But if they're gonna just have Damian Priest be the champion, and Jey Uso wound up winning that four-way tonight, and he's the number one contender. CM Punk screwed Drew McIntyre again tonight. I wanted to see Drew McIntyre get a lengthy title reign. He's obviously not going to AEW. So he's staying, and they have Clash at the Castle in June in Scotland. So I feel like he has to be champion heading into that event, or CM Punk's going to be back by then, and that's the main event. But
you're telling me a Damian Priest Jey Uso main event title match isn't going to put butts in seats, Bob?
No, it isn't. Maybe a few, but not enough. I like Jey Uso and I like Damian Priest. I'd pay to see it, but I'm an idiot. Either way, Damian Priest, I was getting a little ridiculous how long he was holding on to that Money in the Bank. Had a great moment to do it at WrestleMania. Makes sense. Love to see it. But I feel like the main storyline is going to be CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and then Seth Rollins and CM Punk. With however that shakes out for the title, if it could be Seth Rollins and Punk at Mania, they already have the storyline set, which is insane. But I was happy I thought it was a hilarious moment with Drew McIntyre tweeting, bored at work, and then only to just lose the title. He was criticizing Seth Rollins being obsessed with the bloodline, but his obsession with CM Punk cost him the title. So that's irony. Yeah. That's what happens to a good heel. He gets screwed over by his own actions.
Yeah. And I mean, Drew McIntyre is, again, just picture perfect every time he's been out there recently in every action that even tonight's Fatal 4-Way, he was picture perfect in that setup as well. I thought he is money. He is absolutely money. And I'm very sad he is not the title holder. But I'm a Drew Mac fan, and I'm not. I like Damian Priest, but come on. Drew McIntyre is the title holder. I'm interested to see how long Damian Priest holds on to that title.
Not long.
Bob, we've been talking about good for far too long. Outside of everything that happened in the main event, let's give out some awards here. What do you think out of night one or night two was the worst match that you watched?
I thought I was the most let down by Andrade and Rey Mysterio versus Dominic and Santos. I thought it was a little weird for the Jason Kelsey to help out the Latino World Order. That didn't really fit in for me, but it was a nice moment.
In luchador masks? Philadelphia Eagle luchador masks?
That just felt like what the fuck are we gonna do with Jason Kelsey? Nobody cares about the LWL. Throw him out there. Like, that's what that was to me. That was the most forgettable. In the Philly street fight on night two with Bubba Ray as a special referee. Fun here and there, but I don't care about the Final Testament or the Pride. So what about you? What was your worst match of the weekend?
Well, see, surprisingly, I liked the Philly street fight, even though Bubba Ray Dudley looked like he ate Devon when he was out there. But I enjoyed that street fight. I thought it was well put together. And I didn't care about the people in there, but it was a great, easy pop fest match for WrestleMania. Yeah. My most disappointing match, a match that, again, I was watching this pretty late. I had to catch up on night one here, and I almost fell asleep during the Uso match. I thought,
oh God, you're right. I completely forgot about it. I forgot about that match.
Build,
how bad it was.
We complained about how there was no build to this, how there was so much they could have done with this, and then again, I'm still sitting there, virgin eyes, thinking like, what, these two guys, they're so good, they're brothers, they got to be able to pull something out. This is going to be interesting. And outside of one moment where there was like a fake hug that turned it, like, there was nothing. There was nothing. I was not once entertained or by this match. It did not feel like a WrestleMania match. It did not feel like a payoff. And it wasn't a payoff because in night 2, they're fighting again during the Roman Reigns Cody match. So to me, it was useless. It was genuinely useless to be on this card. I was very, very much disappointed in this match and a runner-up. And this is going to make you mad. And this is going to make me mad because I was very looking forward to it. AJ Styles, LA Knight. At no point was I turned on by that match.
I agree. It wasn't like memorable. It wasn't bad either.
I guess that was my most disappointing one because I expected more out of AJ and LA Knight. But the Usos one, that was easily the worst match on the card.
I can sincerely forgot about that match. I blocked it from my memory. When you asked that question, I forgot it exists. That match was 75 super kicks and nothing. What a letdown that was. That was terrible. It just was.
It was bad. It was very bad. Couple of title changes we should talk about before we give out our best match award. Obviously, Bayley is now a champion. A couple of retentions as well. Rhea Ripley kept her belt. Grayson Waller, I guess, is a tag team champion for some reason.
Theory. Yeah.
But again, we predicted, or maybe you predicted, R-Truth and The Miz coming away with the titles. I did not know they were going to separate the tag titles. I thought that was genius, by the way. I thought that was a genius move to put both titles up and kind of, I don't know if the crowd knew that. I don't know if the crowd knew that when Grayson Waller pulled the titles down, the match was not over. It kept going, but I thought that was fun. Out of all the title winners, I guess I would say, which one are you happiest with the title change, the new flag bearer here?
Well, I've made it known a few times. I'm a massive Bayley fan. I think she's essential to that division and keeps everybody together. And that was her first singles match at WrestleMania, if you can believe it. She's been in the company that long. She's been that underappreciated. So I'm just very happy for her, I think, to have her moment. And it was a good match with Io Sky and a great storyline. So yeah, my Bayley, and I liked seeing Rhea Ripley. You know, she's going to go on that dominant reign that we were talking about. I think she's going to be champion at WrestleMania 41. But yeah, Bayley, I'm the most happy for. What about you?
No, I think you're right. I'm very happy to see Bayley. The thing, I mean, there are so many. You love Bayley. I love Bayley. I love NXT Bayley. Like this version of Bayley, to me, I just think the world has caught up to Bayley. And I would like to see other people in the spot that Bayley is in. Again, the storyline with Damage Control was the storyline. But again, I mean, we saw Bianca Belair just really do nothing during this whole entire run. I would like to see, obviously, Charlotte Flair's hurt. I love Charlotte Flair. So those are the type of wrestlers that I would like to see hold the belt. Bayley should go on a long run. She deserves it. And as you said, the first singles match for her career in WrestleMania absolutely deserves one. And I got nothing against Bayley. The match of the night, WrestleMania night 1, night 2, main event division.
Oh,
Bob, what do you got?
Without the main event, boy,
I got mine clear as day. If you need time, I got mine clear as day.
You go first. I got a couple of them rattling around, so you go first.
The triple threat between Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, and Logan Paul. I thought that was perfectly booked. I thought that was perfectly wrestled. Logan Paul continues to just hit every note correctly. And there were times I thought Logan Paul like legitimately hurt himself in that match. And I don't know if he was selling things or if he was masking things. But I thought every bit of that match with those two all-star veterans and him, an athletic superior being Logan Paul, everything put together, I could have done without the iShow speed guy going through the table. But it was fun. It was fun, don't get me wrong. But the match itself, I thought, meant something. I thought these guys all had a chance to really win it. And I thought it was just the pace of it was very, very good and very fun. Even from the entrances, KO backing up the cart so Randy could get on. These guys are teaming up from the beginning. Like it told a story from get-go. And I thought it was very, very well done. And the ending made sense. I did not think Logan Paul was going to retain, but if you're going to have him retain, how do you do that and still protect the other two in the match? I thought it was right down to the wire. We did not know how it was going to finish. And I thought Logan Paul winning was the correct call, and him doing it the way he did was the correct call. Hats off to everyone who planned that match and performed in that match. That was my favorite one of both evenings. What about you?
Well, I actually was crapping on this whole build because I wanted somebody else to be in the match. But I thought Sami Zayn.
Get out of here.
Hey, I don't interrupt you. Actually, I do. I'm going to start interrupting you even more now. Yeah, well, Sami Zayn and Gunther had a great match. I don't know what the hell you were watching if you didn't like that match. I thought what they did in the few minutes before the match with Sami Zayn's walk up saved everything with his family, his wife, his kid. Chad Gable saying, nope, you go out there on your own, turn in the corner. Kevin Owens is there. They won the tag team titles in the main event of night one. And I thought they had a freaking banger of a match for the title. And Gunther's title reign ends at 666 days. I don't know. That just feels perfect to me. And Gunther is moving on to something bigger and better. And Sami Zayn's going to be feuding with Chad Gable. And they're getting that match next Monday on Raw. Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable on Raw for the Intercontinental Championship. But yeah, I love Sami Zayn. I just didn't want to see him in this match, but I thought they delivered when the bell rang. So I'll give them their props.
Not well. The only reason I was really out on this match was because of you dumb piece of shit. For 7 weeks, I had to hear you say Sami Zayn shouldn't be in there. And you know what you did? You convinced my dumbass brain that he shouldn't be in there. The whole time he was out there, I was expecting Chad Gable to be there, thinking, what would happen if Chad Gable was in this spot? So no, I didn't enjoy it, Bob. And I didn't enjoy it because of you piece of shit. So yeah, that's the Sami Zayn Gunther talk. Let's move on from WrestleMania, unless there's something else you want to touch on before we end the show with what's to come this week. And there's a lot to come this week. But is there anything else you want to bring up from WrestleMania that you think we may have missed? Because it was a lot.
No, I think we covered everything. Jade Cargill, she had a bit of a showcase match. I wanted to see some from her. She pinned Dakota Kai. I like that 6-woman tag match. And we covered everything. So let's move on to whatever we got next.
So last we talked before WrestleMania, we had a long discussion that got a lot of internet people very mad at me about CM Punk's
you piece of shit.
CM Punk's references on MMA Hour, talking about how he's the gilded gift from God and how everything is always against him and it's never his fault. And then basically he came out with a flamethrower against his old company AEW during WrestleMania week, during a time where AEW is firing people for some reason, during a time where other AEW people are now side talking the company. Basically, WWE is as high as it could be. AEW is as low as it could be. And then we hear, I can't remember what day this news came out, Friday or Saturday.
Saturday, after night one, during WrestleMania.
We hear that Tony Khan and AEW are going to, and it sounds like a bit. It sounds like a fucking sketch. Tony Khan and AEW are going to release the unaired, unedited footage of the brawl between CM Punk and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. Now, why would they do this? Is it just to get a cheap ratings pop? Is there anything they're building towards after the fact? It obviously, they would not be putting this out there unless it made CM Punk look bad. Obviously, I mean, that's the only reason they're doing it. But to you, as a man who loves CM Punk with his whole heart, as a man who would literally just, I'm not going to say that. That's probably going to kick
I've criticized him.
How does this attack from Tony? We don't know what the footage is going to air. We don't know what the footage is going to have in it. But they are purposefully attacking a man who is not in their company, trying to degrade them after he degraded them. So how does that make you feel, the wrestling fan?
Well, he did it on a podcast. He didn't do it on Raw. So let's start there. Why don't Tony Khan grow a set and go back on Ariel Helwani's podcast, like the MMA Hour, like he did last year, and actually answer some questions last time, because he just sidesteps every question, but now he wants to play the footage. That's cute. But my CM Punk, I understand AEW being hurt, and I understand AEW being pissed at CM Punk. And if you want to embarrass him, what I said on the video I posted on this channel a couple days ago, release the footage to TMZ as he's walking down the entrance ramp to call commentary on WrestleMania. Take the attention away from everything. Like, oh my God, this fucking asshole beat the shit out of Jack Perry, or Jack Perry actually beat the shit out of CM Punk and he was lying. Like, if you have that footage, release it during WrestleMania. They're just trying for a cheap ratings pop because they're averaging 750K the past 2 weeks. And I just think, I don't see how, there's my problem with this. We'll move on quickly because we're going to talk about this in more detail after it happens on our next show. But man, what's the plan after you show this? Like, you're going to introduce Jack Perry and then what? Seriously, he's not in the damn company anymore. Like, I understand responding. Do it on a podcast. You have that AEW Unrestricted podcast that you gave up on. Revive that, Tony. God damn. Well, yeah, those are my thoughts on Tony Khan devoting AEW Dynamite to CM Punk 7 months after he's been fired. You can frame it how you want, but that's ridiculous in the nutshell. It's like, I can't believe it, but that's all they got. The ghost of CM Punk brings ratings to Dynamite. That's all they have, I guess. Will Ospreay, fuck Will Ospreay. We got CM Punk footage.
I am wondering. And like you, I am wondering how they go about presenting this footage in the world of AEW Dynamite. Does Excalibur throw to it? Does Tony Schiavone in the middle of the ring say we have an exclusive? Does it just open the show and it does not get any pomp and circumstance before it at all? Does it, like you said, lead to an entrance from Jack Perry, who is now standing on top of the mountain of CM Punk, and that's the push? How are you using this footage to promote and forward the product you are putting out there? If the answer is you're not, then I don't believe it should be on television. If it's just to get the cheap rating, the pop, and you need that, then I mean, I don't run a business, man. I don't know. I can't tell you what's good for business and what's not good for business. I can just tell you as a wrestling fan, a man who wants desperately for AEW to succeed. And I think CM Punk really screwed you guys over and screwed himself over. I am on the AEW side, and even this, I'm looking at and going, why? Why are we doing this? So excited. I'm less excited to see what the footage is and more excited to see how they use it, if they use it. And I am kind of dreading what Wednesday becomes.
And just to add, before I forget, Brian Alvarez has reported that if the Young Bucks didn't want the footage aired, so it's just like Tony Khan wants the footage aired. So I think Tony Khan was either upset about not a real business. I mean, Punk said a lot of shit in there. There's a lot of deep cuts in that Punk interview, but then again, it's an interview, and he doesn't work there, and you already fired him. And he didn't say anything we didn't already know.
Well, no, but he was attacking Tony Khan. So if
he called him a nice guy, he called him a nice guy.
If Punk came and attacked you, you would want to respond, but I would never respond like this. I would respond in my own way. Like, I have stuff I can say about CM Punk that I worked with him. I was in business with him for 2 years, very close with him. I'm sure I have shit that I can say rather than use Dynamite, a wrestling show, to air this stuff. I'm sure I can just say stuff that contradicts CM Punk, and then it becomes Tony Khan versus CM Punk. But now it becomes CM Punk, as you said, is the ghost orbiting this world of AEW that they cannot move past. So
counterproductive.
Again, man, it's going to be tough. We will be back with a Thursday show to talk about what happened on AEW Dynamite, but we had to come out early with the WrestleMania recap version, with the Monday after WrestleMania recap version. But that is all for our show, unless you have a little headline you want to throw out there for Raw. This was your weekend, my man. This was your Super Bowl, but we will end with your headline.
I don't have a headline. I have a social. I guess my headline is going to be related to Drew McIntyre's. He should have won the damn title. But my social superstar of the week is Drew McIntyre, and I just want to shout out his performance even more for tweeting out "bored at work" during Seth Rollins' entrance, and then following it up with just one word: "fuck." After Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank contract. Just overall, WWE is in a great place. That's my headline. They can't do anything wrong right now, really.
Yeah. And that is it for the Ridiculously Lame Wrestling Show. And as always, we leave you with the question, especially during WrestleMania week. What do you think was happening this week in Ryback?